Welcome to the City. I'm Anthony Wilson, the Communications Director for the City of San Angelo. And today we're devoting the episode to storm recovery efforts, helping people who were victims of the May 18th storm. So I've invited here today two fellows who are working really closely with storm victims in order to help them access the help that they need in order to fully recover from the storms. We have with us Aaron Vinoy. Aaron is the Planning and Development Services Administrator, and Bob Salas, he is the Director of Neighborhood and Family Services. Aaron, I want to start with you. There's been some misinformation and some misperceptions from some about the need for building permits in order to repair their storm damage. I need you to set the record straight for us.
Well, certainly you do need building permits to come and issue a permit to do some reconstruction. There's been a myth out there that we have not been issuing permits. Well, that's not true. We are issuing permits for all types of construction, even commercial projects that have had damage. So anything that needs a building permit, which really the only thing that doesn't is repairing shingles. If you got to repair the decking on your home, you got to repair some kind of structural members and things like that, we can issue a permit to a licensed contractor or to someone that's been a homestead exemption and lives in the home. We can issue a permit to them.
Now talk about why that's important and why having a permit is a safeguard.
Permits allows it to be done correctly so that in the future that home is much safer than one that doesn't have a permit, because construction can change over time. That permit allows inspectors to come out and make sure that the construction has been done correctly for safety of the family that lives there and even the neighbors around.
So while we are requiring building permits still, the City Council, for people who've suffered storm damage, this isn't a blanket across the all projects, but for people who've suffered some sort of storm damage, they have waived the fees associated with building permits. Now, how much does a building permit typically cost?
Well, they can be as low as $50, but some of them, for the type of construction that needs to happen at these residences and businesses that got damaged, are going to be, $300 to $400 to $500. And so right now, that's a significant savings for the homeowner and the contractor. And so they can come down and get those. And we've done that for the next 6 months. And of course, the City Council may consider even extending that if there's damage that has been unable to be repaired at that time.
Now, this may be a little self-evident, but explain why the city believed that waiving those building permit fees was a good and important thing to do.
Well, one, we're a community and we care about our citizens, and we don't want that to be an additional expense or stumbling block for them rebuilding. If we can get by without having those fees, then that gives them money to pay their contractor, to buy their food, to get back into their homes.
You mentioned the waiver will last for 6 months. Is there any anticipation that we may need to extend that waiver in addition to that?
There are a few homes that are severely damaged, and so those homes may take longer to get satisfied some of the construction needs that they have. And so we want to be very sensitive to that, and we want to make sure that that community, particularly around the Bradford area, regrows and becomes healthy again. And so we may have to look at that time.
So it's also important that people ensure that their home repairs are being performed by licensed contractors. Now talk about why it's necessary for homeowners to do just that, just to get some confirmation that their contractor is in fact licensed.
I think that's very important because licensed contractors have learned the codes, they follow the codes, they've gone to the state agencies to get their licensing to do those things. That is just another safeguard for homeowners. Most insurance companies are going to require the repairs to be done by a licensed contractor. They can call into the city to find out if the person they've chosen is actually currently licensed. All licensed contractors should have on their vehicles their license number. The information they hand out probably has their license number. Call us and check to see, are they current on their licensing? We'd be happy to help them with that.
And so that's just a matter of calling 657-4210 and you guys will confirm that for them. What sort of trades are licensed? Are there any that are not licensed?
For the most part, they are all licensed. So if you've got somebody that's just doing what we call general construction or structural, so building with 2x4s and putting on roofs, not the shingles, but the decking and those kind of things, those all have to have a building license. Or if you're doing electrical, plumbing, or mechanical, meaning HVAC systems, heating and cooling that need to be redone, all of those require licensing. So each one of those trades will have a certification that goes with that, and we can help out the homeowner understand if that person is current with the city or not.
So Bob, on May the 28th, the Neighborhood and Family Services Department organized a storm recovery town hall forum at Bradford Elementary, which is the area that was hardest hit during the storm. What sort of information were people most interested in accessing?
Well, you know, Anthony, we had a well-attended meeting. Over 100 people showed up. We had about 7 or 8 experts panel there to provide information, and the questions kind of spanned the myriad of issues. They started off asking a lot of questions about the debris and debris disposal. I think Shane Kelton basically covered all that information. He's gonna provide assistance until June the 2nd, and then after that, it goes back to normal. They had questions on insurance, they had questions on financial support, and they had lots of questions on housing.
Speaking of housing, your department, the Department of Neighborhood and Family Services, provides housing repair services. What sort of housing repair assistance is available to our storm victims?
We have several programs. One is called the emergency repair. Because it happened recently, we can go in and provide assistance for electrical repairs. We can provide assistance for gas leaks, those things that cause a health and safety issue. That's one program. Council just recently approved a roof repair program, and it goes to council next Tuesday. And if it gets a second reading, gets approved, we'll have some funds available to replace roofs. These programs are targeted for low to moderate income citizens. And they are grants. You don't have to pay it back. The only requirement is that they have to live in the house for 5 years. And the last program that's probably pretty interesting is the home buyers program. Because of the storm, if you lost your house, you're considered a first-time home buyer. And we can come in and provide you down payment and closing costs to move into a house. We also have a gap financing program. We build a new house or reconstruct a house, and then you pay a portion of that. It does require to get a loan, though, so there's some stipulations there. But those are the main housing programs we have available to them.
So if people need to access any of the programs that you just talked about, how do they go about doing that?
It's pretty easy. Either call 655-0824 and ask for someone in my staff, or you can go online to the Community and Housing Support website through the city's website, and we'll have information there.
And of course, the city's website is cosatx.us. I know also at the forum, there was a lot of information about insurance claims and how people can go about filing an insurance claim. What sort of information was relayed to people about that? I
think they said basically work with your agents, of course, but they gave us a few tips. For example, make sure that you protect your property from further damage after the assessor has left, because if he comes back and there's further damage, that's another claim, different claim. And I think the other one is take lots of pictures and keep all your receipts. Those are the key tips that we got from our insurance representative.
Speaking of assistance, the San Angelo Area Foundation is offering some assistance through a disaster recovery fund that it established right in the wake of the storm. How can people go about seeing if they qualify for any assistance through the area foundation?
Well, according to our rep, Janet Karcher from the other night, she recommends going online. There's an application process, or just calling them. They can guide you through the process, and they recommend you start doing it soon. They're collecting funds right now. They're still in that collection process, but they hope to be able to release some of those grants here pretty soon.
You also had someone there from legal aid. What sort of advice were they giving people?
You know, they basically said if you have some deed problems, in other words, your house is destroyed, now you've got to do something. A lot of folks what they've realized is that their deed or their warranty deed or their title is convoluted. There's some issues there, and they have to be cleaned up. They will provide that assistance.
So one of the things that you mentioned earlier, Bob, is that storm debris will be still being collected in our community. People can go to one of our 2 drop-off sites in order to deposit their debris. Those are going to be open 24/7 through June 2nd. And those are, of course, at the Coliseum and at the Lake Operations Facility, which is at the corner of Knickerbocker Road and Fisherman's Road. There are 2 separate areas that are marked off with orange traffic barrels. one for vegetation such as tree limbs and branches. The other is for construction materials, and so people can make use of that. And then if you have materials that you cannot, tree branches, if you cannot get those off your property, if you'll just leave those on the front curb, city crews are still continuing to comb through the city and pick those up. And so we appreciate everyone's patience because they will eventually get to your home. So Bob, if people need more information about storm recovery resources, where can they go to get that?
I tell you, I think there's a lot of resources available. If people get a little confused, just tell them to call me, 655-0824, and I'll be happy to get the information to the right people and get the answers they need.
And of course, as you know, we posted some of those resources along with contact information on our Facebook page.
We did.
Today, the City of San Angelo Public Information Facebook page. Aaron, what about you? What if people have questions about building permits and contractors? Whom can they contact?
Well, they certainly can come down to the office and talk to us because they probably have some forms to fill out, but they can certainly call in as well. We've actually had some of our staff out in the field there in some of the hard hit areas, and they've been talking to them out in the field. But get down there and contact us down at 52 West College Avenue. Come in and see us, and we will try to help them out.
And it's what some people refer to as the old library, just right across the sidewalk from City Hall.
That's correct.
So we've been talking with Aaron Vanoy and with Bob Salas. They are both knee-deep in storm recovery efforts. And so if you have any questions, these are two great resources for you to turn to. Their contact information is on our website at cosatx.us. And we hope you'll join us for the next episode of The City.